Welcome back to our last Senate meeting of the year with our 110th association. So I would begin with any motions to start our meeting. All those in favor of beginning the 25th meeting of the Senate, please say aye. Those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? We will begin with our call to order and roll call. Please use your clickers to vote. Show our presence.
How many names on it? There's a. Joe Pound, right? And all.
Make sure you hit OK after you hit yes. And going once, going twice. Anyone so? And so, okay. So those will be recorded. And with that, we have no convening business on our last meeting of the semester and the year. So we will begin with any amendments or motions to approve the agenda.
Motion to move the financial aid presentation to the beginning agenda.
Second.
All those in favor of amending the agenda to move our financial aid presentation to the beginning of the agenda, please say aye. Those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? And will be moved. While this is happening, are there any other motions?
Motion to add Blue Jays and Poets open mic night presentation to non-legislative business.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of amending the agenda to add a presentation from Blue Jays and Poets, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Okay. The agenda will be amended to add. Here. With that, any other motions for the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Any seconds?
Second.
All those in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye. Those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Okay. We'll first go to public input. If any of the members of the public have any input. If not, we can begin with our financial aid presentations. That would like to tonight.
There's my comparing.
Yes, I have a bit of one.
This will just mention that.
You can send over the
Perfect. Good evening. If you see me just squinting down, like my notes are on this particular screen, and I'm just kind of getting older, so I have to do this little squinting. Just to introduce myself, I am Quentin Taylor, Director of Financial Aid and Scholarships here at Hopkins. And back here we have Tom McDermott. He is the Associate Vice Provost of Financial Aid. So he's my boss. So first off, thank you for inviting us to come and talk about the services that we provide in student financial support, and also the opportunity to come here to answer any questions that you might have. So I know that I have like a 10-minute limit here to kind of present this, so I'm just going to dive right in. So the topics that I'm going to quickly touch on are the services that Student Financial Support offers. To clarify the difference between getting assistance from the Office of Student Enrollment and Account Management, also known as SEAM, versus Student Financial Support. I'm going to touch on a few common questions that we get during advising sessions in student financial support. I'll quickly go over a couple of initiatives for this year, and then how the SGA can assist us with reaching out to students. All right. So student financial support is responsible for the awarding, packaging, and disbursement of financial aid. That includes institutional aid, state and federal grants, as well as federal and private loans. We offer one-on-one advising sessions on a number of financial aid topics, which I'll share here soon in the upcoming slide. We partner with Johns Hopkins University Credit Union to offer a 8-part financial literacy program series. The subjects range from budgeting to taxes to investments to having workplace benefits. And we do collaboration, or I should say collaborative programming with admissions, student outreach and support, the Center for Student Success, university experiential learning. So those are like a handful of our campus partners. All right, so one area of confusion that some students might have is determining which office is best to assist them with their financial aid questions. Is it SEAM or is it Student Financial Support? So SEAM, that organization was created as a one-stop shop for financial aid registration and student accounts questions. So they're able to answer basic questions when it comes to financial aid, such as financial aid application questions, status of student financial aid documentation, aid disbursement and refund questions, and a number of other basic financial aid questions. The Office of Student Financial Support, us, we're better able to provide in-depth support for comprehensive questions. And also I will say that the questions that SEAM are not able to answer, then they'll kind of just pass it along to us as well. Also in student financial support, each student has an assigned financial aid advisor to assist them as well. Since student financial support is uniquely qualified to assist with questions or concerns about changes in financial circumstances, appeals, emergency aid, advising on the impact of scholarships, grants from other sources other than student financial support, endowed scholarships, federal work-study eligibility, complex questions regarding institutional aid eligibility. And we also handle complex questions in regards to specialty student groups, such as the Cummings Scholars. So they used to be known as the Baltimore and DC Scholars. Hop-in, International Financial Aid, DACA and undocumented students, resident advisors, athletic financial aid, study abroad, Peabody double degree, and SCICE BA to MA. So there are a number of ways to contact student financial support. That includes calling us, dropping into one of our daily Zoom walk-in sessions. You can schedule an appointment with your financial aid advisor. You can write us via the student case management system. And you can also visit us in the Scene Suite in Levering, which we have a financial aid advisor house. And this is really just the alpha breakdown for the financial aid advising team. And if you're navigating our website, we do have a Meet Our Team page. And this is where you can just go to get to know a little bit more about your assigned financial aid advisor. You can also schedule an appointment on this particular page as well. So a few common topics that we advise on in our one-on-one sessions include appealing financial aid offers due to a change in family financial circumstances. So this would include like a loss of income, a loss of job, unreimbursed medical expenses. For the appeal request, like you will need supporting documentation to coincide with the actual appeal. And we do accept appeal requests throughout the academic year. We advise students on the impact of receiving additional scholarships and grants from sources outside of student financial support. So these sessions, I will say that students are more so wanting to know specifically how receiving an outside scholarship or grant will impact their aid. And so then we kind of walk them through a few scenarios of what that would look like as far as the expected contribution or the change in financial aid package, if there's a change in the financial aid package. From a general standpoint, our outside scholarships will replace the summer savings expectation, which is $1,800 for freshman students, $2,600 for continuing students, and then it would move on to replace the work study or the work opportunity. And the remaining, any remaining scholarships after that would then reduce the Hopkins scholarship dollar for dollar. So really to kind of put this a little bit more simple, incoming freshmen that receive outside scholarships can actually receive up to $4,500 before it starts to reduce the actual need-based aid. For continuing students, that would be sophomores, juniors, and seniors, they can receive up to $5,300 in outside scholarships before it starts to reduce the need-based aid. Another common one-on-one session that we have is the impact of moving off campus. So we assist students with estimating their upcoming year's financial aid. So therefore, they'll be more informed on making decisions on which housing would be best for them. From my understanding, many sophomores and juniors, they kind of look into like the housing option as early as I believe like the end of January for like the upcoming year. And so typically financial aid packages for continuing students aren't released until June. And so this would be basically a good way to go and visit the financial aid advisor who can give pretty much an estimate of what the upcoming year's financial aid will be. However, in order for this to happen, the student would need to have their financial aid application materials submitted before meeting with the financial aid advisor. So there are a couple of new initiatives for the 22-23 year, which includes the creation of a 9-member student advisory board. So this board has been created as a means of having a collaborative student partners to review various initiatives, services, and policies within student financial support. So the students have shared their perception of the Office of Student Financial Support. They provided feedback on our new website. They've shared experiences with going through like different financial aid processes such as federal verification, submitting appeals, and also applying for loans. We have been able to get great feedback from them regarding our communications. and like their preferences of receiving those communications and like the best times to reach out to them. And so we've kind of just gotten a mix from students, but it seems like the common preference is like actual text to kind of nudge them that they've received the actual email or something is coming their way. All right, so another initiative that we're working on is the implementation of a financial literacy platform. So we plan to partner with iGrad, which is a personal finance platform that can help students better understand how to manage their finances. iGrad offers a number of interactive tools, tutorials, and resources. Next, and so it's how can SGA help student financial support? So, given the association's reach and the ability to connect with the student population, so there are a handful of student financial support-led initiatives and programs and sessions that we're needing assistance with getting the word out about. The first being our off-campus housing survey, which is typically sent in November to upperclassmen. So this particular survey allows our office to understand like the full range of the costs associated with living off campus. It shapes our off-campus cost of attendance. It identifies areas where assistance, support, and guidance is needed. We have our financial wellness webinars, which is an 8-part financial literacy series. On average, we get about a 50% turnout for these. And so for our latest budgeting webinar, we had 115 students to register for it, and roughly about 58 students actually participated. We have a number of in-person and virtual information sessions throughout the year, topics ranging from financing study abroad experiences to moving off campus and the impact of the cost of attendance and aid. And we will start our search for a new advisory board starting in September. And so we'll be looking for members to make a 1-year commitment. So, like, any assistance that SGA could provide in just really spreading the word on a number of our initiatives will be helpful. And I can say that, we'll surely loop in the association about 1 month prior to any event so you can kind of just help us spread the word. So, thank you. Are there any questions?
Yeah. I'll open the floor to any motions if anyone wants.
Can we motion for a 10-minute Q&A with 1-minute speaking times?
All those in favor of moving into a 10-minute Q&A with 1-minute speaking times, please say aye. Those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Passing of the floor. Okay.
Thank you so much for coming to present. We really appreciate it. One of the questions I was going to ask about updates to SFS and like outside resources is something that I know that we discussed during the Zoom meeting was the idea of having like essentially like cases, like anonymized of course, but real cases of students going through the financial aid process to be on the website to make it a little bit easier for students to kind of get at least an idea, although every situation is different, get kind of an idea of what they're looking at and kind of like how that process will go for them and what kinds of information they need to maybe just kind of like ease along the process. I wanted to know if there had been any more discussion of that after our meeting. Thank you.
So Quentin, I'm happy since Quentin was not at the meeting, but he and I have talked about these issues. I'm happy to weigh in. First, let me just say thank you for inviting us here again tonight, and it's great to see all of you. So we actually were very enthusiastic about some of the suggestions that you raised around adding some additional details to the website, and examples. So like case studies around how an outside scholarship affects your financial aid package, I think is perfectly aligned with what we want to weave into the website. There were some other items that were mentioned as well, like not aid for an additional semester, aid for summer. Really just digging in and explaining in a little more detail how those different elements work. So Quentin and his team, I've basically, given them the challenge to rethink and brainstorm how we might make some of those enhancements to the website and ensure that I think those are things that we can work on fairly quickly. But I don't know if you have anything to add or if there's any updates on some of those things that we've talked about.
We're really in the planning phase for having those updated on the website.
Thank you very much. I yield the rest of my time.
Thanks.
Hello, thank you for coming. I just had a question about, it's a clarification question. So, I personally had some financial aid, issues last fall. Not 2022, but 2021.
Okay.
And my first instinct was to call financial aid. And then I learned that we had individual financial advisors, and then I started emailing. So I was wondering, if there could be there would be a case example or an example of who you should contact first, for what issues you may be having. Because mine was time sensitive, so I would call financial aid every day. But then every time I would call, she would ask my name and then my student ID and then what's the issue. So how does that work when you call and give your student ID? Does a case get started for you? Or because I work with clients and every time someone calls and I get their name, we are able to pull them up in our system. Anyone that's worked with them before, we can see what they did. And I didn't get the impression that that's how financial aid works. So I'm hoping to get clarification on that.
Got it. That's exactly how it should work. Whenever you call in, of course, they're asking you the what we call qualifying questions to make sure that you are who you say that you are. From that point, a case is actually supposed to be started with our student case management system. And within that, they're supposed to record exactly the reason for your call and such. So it sounds to me that maybe whenever you reached out, you ended up contacting one of our frontline partners, which is probably it may have been actually seen. So you may not have actually gotten in contact with our particular office. But I will say that SEAM is set up to answer the basic financial aid questions and questions that they cannot answer. They're actually supposed to pass on to your financial aid advisor. I will say that, if you have a particular situation you're wanting to actually set something up with your financial aid advisor, you can definitely go on to our website. I'm on our contact us page. There are a couple of ways to actually set up an appointment with your advisor. And also I will state that, it doesn't necessarily have to be your particular advisor. So if there's this particular, a specific time or day that you're wanting to reach out, but yet they're already blocked off, guarantee you that any financial aid advisor you can set up an appointment with, and they can.
We'll go to Lisa.
Are electronic resources included in the books and supplies section of the financial aid? Do you consider that or no?
Electronic resources. They should be a part of books and supplies. Can you give me an example?
Like a Achieve or ChemLab or Design Books?
So if it is a requirement of the actual course, then yes, this should be included in the actual books and supplies section.
I see.
I know last year there was the life design grant that's happened. I know this summer is changed so that it impacts the financial aid with more of a cushion. I know they keep using the word cushion, but could you break down what that actually means? Does it mean that the financial aid is not impacted in the fall at all by it? It's a standalone, or does that mean we're getting less work?
So what you're basically referring to, I guess, would be it's really like a student experiential learning course that's added for summer. So if you're going to do like an internship or something of that nature, then what happens is that I believe that Life Design will enroll you into that 1 credit course. And so what happens is it creates a cost of attendance for summer. So therefore, if you're getting aid you have a cost of attendance actually, sorry, yeah, if you're getting aid, then you have cost of attendance actually applied against instead of it impacting a future term. And so what happened this past year was there wasn't, so, a student would have not have been enrolled in the summer, so there's nothing to apply aid to per se. So therefore, it has to be applied to a future term. So now there's going to be a cost of attendance component built into summer. And so therefore that aid would apply to that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I think that's the cushion that you're referring to.
Right. My question is actually, it's more of an idea, I guess, that the Life Design Lab has a very similar idea where every student is, depending on their major and stuff, they have a specific advisor who they can go to for help. I think it would be really helpful if our financial aid advisors could send out an email, maybe like in the beginning of the semester once, just being like, hi, I'm your advisor. And like, if you have any specific questions, I'm the right person to reach out to. And maybe they could, during important deadlines, like right before any form is due or stuff like that, they could have an office hour situation, maybe once a week for a month or something like that. Like, 1 hour where they just sit on like a Zoom call maybe, or somewhere in person if that's more like approachable for students, and they can just address those questions. I think that might be useful in spreading this awareness that, okay, this is the right person to reach out to. These are the right timelines you should be, keeping in mind. That kind of.
Yeah, it's super helpful. Yeah, I don't see a reason why we could not reach out with an advisor email just introducing themselves. We do something similar to incoming students as far as, freshmen coming in. We send out like an advisor email just saying, hey, I'm Quentin, I'm your assigned financial aid advisor. If you need any assistance. So it's definitely something that we can do for our continuing students. So to kind of go along with that, we do have Zoom drop-in hours, and so financial aid advisors are their staff for Zoom drop-in hours, and so there's drop-in hours every day. So a student could log on to Zoom and just drop in there and actually speak with the advisor at that point. But outside of that, then yes, I mean they can schedule an appointment with the advisors.
We don't have time for Oluwakemi, and then we can extend afterwards.
Long meeting during after the break, and once again, with my name, but I have a quick question. I spoke with a couple of advisors about like summer courses and things of that nature, and I've heard various times that the summer funding for this summer has decreased, not in a favorable way to the student. Can I ask this? That's true, and is there a reason behind that?
So I actually wouldn't say that it's decreased for summer, or the summer funding has been decreased. So I will state that summer is not a standard semester for aid, and in a sense, financial aid from our office actually comes from summer programs, and so yeah, so financial aid isn't at least the aid that we give is standard in the summer term. But I will say, like for the past few years, we've actually have had more money to spend in the summer due to some flexibilities when it comes to like federal work study. And so that's like in the form of like a SEOG grant, which is more so aimed towards Pell eligible students. But also there has been like an increase in I guess you can say summer experience type grants coming from campus partners such as the Center for Student Success and also Life Design as well. So I will say, like for the past few years, we've actually had a increase in funds that would have never been, well, that would have otherwise not been there, and it's really all in association with the pandemic.
Can I go to them
Yes.
Q&A for 10 minutes before we question?
Any seconds? All those in favor of extending the Q&A 10 minutes, please say aye. Those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Aye. We'll go to Lisa.
This we're asking now the also periods. So let's say student selects a certain meal plan, for example, like they select meal fives, which is about 3,000 something dollars. And then if they change his meal plan to something cheaper during the change period in September, would their financial aid be adjusted, or would some be kept this?
Financial aid would not be adjusted. And as far as what happens, like if a student gets refunded, that depends on how much funding that student actually receives. So we don't actually go in and adjust like the meal plan within the actual cost of attendance to be low.
Okay, thank you.
Jackson.
So I was gonna ask a question on kind of a specific thing that I've heard students ask questions about before. Specifically related to the dollar for dollar reduction. So is it possible that the dollar for dollar reduction in scholarship might be disincentivizing students from seeking further scholarships past the amount that they could receive without it reducing their Hopkins grant? And I wanted to know if SFS has considered in the past other alternatives that allow students to at least see a partial benefit. Maybe a 50 to 75% swap for the Hopkins scholarship, and then 50 to 25% going to the student.
I'm to take that. I'll preface what I'm about to say by saying that that we have to reduce aid is in part because the need-based financial aid packages also include federal student aid like work study, Pell Grants, so forth. And the federal government requires us to adjust financial aid packages so that we don't exceed your cost of attendance or your calculated financial needs. So oftentimes, like we would love to be able to say keep all of it and not have to make any reductions, but we don't have the option to do that with when the federal funds are a part of your financial aid package. But some students may not have federal awards in their package. And our philosophy is that our financial aid programs are need-based. And so once we've met need and you start to exceed that level of need, that's where you get into the territory of, well, is it really need-based aid or is it merit? So I hear you on that. I mean, I think we've all struggled with this over the years in that there's a disincentive in some ways by reducing Hopkins grant. But the way we view this is that it helps us in a lot of ways spread those need-based aid dollars further for students, because our promise is to meet 100% of need, not 110% or 120% of need. And so that's how we've done it for many years. But the federal funds are by and far the biggest limiter in terms of what we're able to do. So if you had a work study job and we suddenly were able to say, you could get your scholarship above cost of attendance, we'd have to take away a work study award per student. And that doesn't feel good.
Thank you.
I have kind of a more overarching question. So I know that we were able to move into the kind of need-based, no loan financial aid system because of the donation in 2018, because of Bloomberg's donation. But since that was like a single moment donation, is there like a time, an ending for how long we'll be able to sustain that kind of no loan financial aid, or is this something we see happening for the rest of Hopkins eternity?
So the transformational gift we received from Bloomberg back in 2018 endowed certain aspects of our financial aid program. And so, what we're able to do in terms of need-based aid and replacing loans in packages is a result of that endowment payout. And that, endowment payout, we hope will be in perpetuity and allow us to continue to do what we've been doing for the last 4 or 5 years for students. So there are no plans to walk that back. That's a public declaration that we eliminated loans from our packages. And also, we publicly embraced need blind. And I think probably most of you are familiar with that, which is, your financial circumstances shouldn't determine whether or not you are admitted to Johns Hopkins University. And so, those are some of the things that you're able to do, among others, with those.
Or we'll go to Tal.
So, and I did mention Read Blind. I'm a student employee at the admissions office, so I'm pretty familiar with the philosophy. But I know we don't do Read Blind admissions for international students. I know the rationale for that is something with the federal funding, but I was just wondering, like, are there any other like reasons why that's necessary, or could you speak a little bit more about like why they need to take like financial situation into account upon admission paragraph?
Sure, sure. And so, I mean, first off, there's no federal regulation that prevents us from being need blind for international students. The reality is that we're need aware for international students because of the significant cost that it would, what it would take in terms of a financial aid commitment to be need blind for international students. So, but how need aware functions for international students is very different than I think, what most people might think. So I think the danger is that folks would think that, the aid office or the admissions office does a cost benefit analysis for every international student who applies for to be admitted to Hopkins. And that's not really true. The admissions office seeks to admit the students that they want to admit. And we ask students who will need financial aid, if they're international, to indicate that when they apply. And if you're admitted, the commitment is that we would meet 100% of your calculated need for the 4 years that you're here. But the reality is that there's a significant cost associated with being need blind for international students, which is why we are not need blind for international.
I have the same question.
I'll go back to you then.
I was just wondering, like, so is the issue with it is that like the university like gets a lot of money in like tuition from international students, like historically, like there's more full tuition paying international students. Is that like the rationale, or is it, am I like misunderstanding what you're saying? Sorry, I didn't want to clarify.
No, I think there might be a misunderstanding. So there's nothing to do with the tuition revenue side of the equation. It's if we said we were need blind for international students, then the cost of funding all of those students that would be admitted would be significantly more than what we are spending today. Right now, we have a budget for international financial aid scholarships, and so that budget would have to be increased dramatically. And so it's a resource issue. We just don't have the resources at present to do it. It's on the list of, Quentin and I have a list of probably about 20 different financial aid initiatives that we would like to see implemented at Hopkins, and they're all qualified with here's what this would cost. More international student financial aid is on my list.
I'll finish off with my question. This is kind of very abstract, but with the Supreme Court ruling posed to happen to remove affirmative action as a set for admissions, I know that some universities are considering like looking more into income as a way to diversify the incoming classes. Do you think we would have the resources to kind of support that?
Meaning to leverage data in a more sophisticated way to make sure that we are admitting a diverse applicant.
The data as well as like also the funding to support them, like both things.
So the university is committed to need blind admissions for the domestic population, which would include undocumented and U.S. citizens and permanent residents. We're all anxiously awaiting the outcome of that decision. And there have been lots of conversations that are ongoing around, how we would operate in a world where, we're not able to factor race as one of many factors in holistic admissions. And it's not just Hopkins that's talking about this. We're having this conversation nationally. There are lots of other states, quite honestly, that we can look to for some leadership and their experience. So, California, as an example, has grappled with this issue for many years and, has provided some insight into how they've been able to operate and continue their good work. So I think, we're all anxious to hear what comes of the decision, but the university is going to, I think, the announcement would be something along the lines of, if the Supreme Court decision was really, hampered what colleges could do. I think we would basically say, we'll follow the law, but we remain, as committed as ever to ensuring, that we enroll in a diverse class on all measures.
Does anyone have any other motions? If not, we can give a round of applause and thank them for their time.
Thank you all for allowing us to come here tonight. Hopefully we'll do this again.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
With that, we can move on to the rest of our agenda. Let's move on to reports, beginning with Student Body President Solsada.
My last update of my last. When you guys go, exciting. So overall updates, most importantly, inauguration is going to be Tuesday before UVM. We're going to have headshots available beforehand. It never hurt to have a nice headshot. Dress nice. The attire is, I don't know the exact dress code off the top of my head.
Business casual.
Yeah, be professional, basically. There will be food, I believe. I'm going to give a little speech. It'll be very nice. And then the new Senate is going to have their UVM. So this is the last UVM with this current Senate as it stands. You guys, the seniors will be coming hopefully to inauguration and you will not see them after that. I just remembered something I was just doing that. Other than that, I have been in touch with Calvin and Charles vaguely about admin networking and President Daniel's stuff for the new Senate coming in. We didn't have enough time, as you guys know, retreat isn't happening. Keep an eye on the teams. I wanted to do an event with the new Senate and the old Senate, kind of like a get to know you social. Now that the weather's getting warmer. I know I've been talking about a social event all semester, but I don't function in the winter, so I wanted to wait until the weather was nicer. Beyond that, I definitely have more updates. I just am thinking blanking on it.
Point of information.
Yes. For senators who may or may not have gotten a headshot taken before, will there be opportunities for them to get a headshot taken at inauguration if they're not continuing on and have it?
I don't see why not. I will not stop. Another question?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Oh, wait, we're taking that.
Any non-headshot related questions?
Is the Daniels event not happening this semester?
The Daniels event is out of my hands scheduling wise. I have updated Jackson in the chat with everything. But likely no, seeing as this ends next week. If you're in the incoming Senate, it might be happening this semester for the incoming Senate. Likely not.
Calvin said no.
All right. If Calvin said no, then Calvin said.
I don't know what your discussions were before that.
Okay. You guys also have next call, and I'm going to see if I can reach out and get a one-on-one meeting with President Daniels, because we were just talking about earlier, and it ended up getting rescheduled and lost in the chaos of everything. So I will be attempting to do that. If anybody needs me in the future, you all have my email. I will not be checking the email after I'm done. So you have my email and my phone number. If you like letter of preferences or if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. I have had a great time serving with all y'all. We have done lots of stuff, as you will hear in my speech at inauguration. The end. Oh, and there's going to be a group picture at the end since we're all dressed nice.
Okay, up next is me. End of an era. We just have a couple of things coming up that I'm part of working with. We have a meeting, current exec and new exec is having a meeting with Vice Provost Hernandez and Schallenberger. That is happening Wednesday, 4/19. There's also the Visioning the Future Campus Kickoff event. It's a bunch of events set that are hopefully supposed to help us envision what we want Hopkins to be like. But with that, I'll pass it over to Secretary Review.
feel like I definitely have other things, but I'm not sure what, so.
Treasurer Nicholson.
Also, an end of an era. I am currently working on my transition doc for Jenny, event grant request. Still have to like figure some things out with that because some clubs have still been reaching out. I guess they didn't get the memo that the event grants are now closed. That's pretty much it.
Director of Social Affairs, Director Diaz.
Yeah, been a while for sure. Right now I'm just mainly preparing a final course, but here, a recap of the planetary organization. And we've done a recap of what we've done for the rest of what we've done for the rest of the year. And I'm also mainly focused on incoming like tasks, including reaching out to new outlets and inviting them to our upcoming inauguration. I'm also helping to prepare for the our website updates post on inauguration. But
And then we have our class council reports, beginning with Senior President Lou.
So we're getting there with the student class events, and we are also prepping for the kickoff event, helping out with that for Thursday for the alumni reunion weekend, and yeah, I'm also working on the transition doc for the next senior class president, and also need to figure out in terms of just like submitting the budget request for the upcoming senior class as well. Do you have in mind?
Updates from the junior class.
So we're currently planning for our junior formal, which is almost about done. It's happened April 21. We're probably gonna send a set sheet for volunteers if you want to help us out. And I believe it's all.
Sophomore class.
We are in the process of planning our final event for the year in collaboration with the Imagine Center. It's ongoing, but maybe after within the semester, but in the next session this year. We're in the process of confirming how much money we actually have left for this academic year, and then we'll decide how to proceed with that.
Freshman class.
Seniors will be updated. So we sent out the email about academic research survey. Currently we have more than 50 responses. And we're working on our transition document and we're almost done with it. And for later, we decided to spend to fund $1,000 for the BGI under event. So
Now we can move on to committee reports, beginning with academic affairs.
So I think one more time, use their feedback on new structures and stuff to work on transition docs and update them on the new structure of SGA and just work on the transition.
Civic engagement. Civic engagement.
Nothing to report. I read.
Health, safety, and sustainability.
And we talked about how SGA and HSS can help with the JH's sustainability plan and how we can further collaboration for the next year. And we also have our fast tabling event on the 21st at 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. So if you guys can be there, would be very helpful.
Internal affairs.
Discuss the amendments on the Constitution and the bylaws and voted to the present today for the second reading.
Student organizations.
I met with Charles yesterday regarding the registration form and making it sooner for future years. My communication regarding requirements for student organizations. So hopefully there will be some changes coming next year to make it smoother for CSO as the review for that.
And last but not least, student services.
Hello. So we are wrapping up the liaison program. I am in the process of writing that document, and we'll continue that tomorrow. We'll see if we can get one last meeting with libraries, perhaps, about replacing the air dryers again with paper towels, because that's been highly requested. As well as just some other things, updates on the prayer room and updates on improving Wi-Fi on the MSE side of the library. So that's about all. I'll be sending an email to everyone as soon as the new chair of student services. All the offices that we're liaisoning with, after the new chair of student services is confirmed, so that all of those contacts can transfer to them and they know that they would be contacting them, not me. That's all.
And now we're on to caucus reports, beginning with the Peter caucus. We have someone running for the position who's also from IAC. So that's pretty great that we will have someone to lead our caucus next year. Black caucus?
Same as you, someone is actually running for Black Caucus, and we're happy about that. So I'm working on positions up here for them, and that's all.
Disability caucus?
SDS awards tonight. Made that.
Flag caucus. Hispanic/Latinx caucus?
We're looking to work with someone to be a new kind of office representative, and because we didn't get to apply.
And WGMC. With that, we have our advisor reports.
Yeah, so Mariana just told y'all about inauguration. I hope y'all can make it. Great job on this year, although I haven't been able to work with y'all that much this year. I mean, just kind of transitioned over here, but I heard a lot of great things about the work that y'all have done. So congratulations on that. It's not easy. And then leadership awards. If you were nominated or you nominated someone, you should have gotten an email yesterday. Please RSVP to that form if you have not already, because that will be happening on the day after the inauguration. So Wednesday.
With that, we can move on to non-legislative business, beginning with Blue Jays and Poets Open Mic Night presentation. Yeah. You could come on. Second, I will switch.
Hi, I was not expecting this, but I'm the president and co-founder of Blue Jays and Poets. It's a poetry-based club on campus. Me and two other co-founders founded it summer of 2022, and we prioritize providing a safe space for Black and Brown communities, queer and disabled students who have a love of poetry, want to perform poetry, and want to work on poetry. You can skip that. Oh, keep it go back. Yeah, so this is like a little review of like our past events, but it's not all of it. So our open mic night is April 30th at from 4 to 6 p.m. This was something that we wanted to do in the summer of 2022 as we were establishing the club. It's always been one of our dreams to have our own open mic night, something annual that our club can have every single year, like how a lot of student organizations have. So we already secured a date and a time with Bird in Hand Cafe. They were very nice to give us their venue on the day of, and we just want to celebrate our members and all the accomplishments they've achieved throughout the year with their poetic talent. What we're asking for is just a poster stand. We just want to use it, over time. Like I said, we're expecting to do this at like an annual thing, so we're going to use a poster stand, over time. We're also asking for customized Blue Jays and Poets stickers for our attendees of the event and for future events. We're also asking for blank T-shirts, and we're willing to take over the responsibility of printing on the T-shirts the design that we have created. And we're gonna hand the t-shirts out at our event at our open mic night. And it's a first come first serve basis. And then the other things that we're asking for is just like simple things like plates, cups, forks, spoons, just for the audience when they consume finger food at the event. And oh, he changed it. And yeah, this is basically just like a grand total of how much all the products that we want cost via Amazon.
Yeah. They have a bill that's also on the agenda, so we can ask questions then, but if anyone has any motions for questions now. If not, we can do it later. Okay. With that, we can move on to our second reading items, beginning with the Fiji Islander funding bill. President Sophie.
Can you scroll down to the it has the price. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, here's good. Okay, so I think last week we were talking about 400 tickets. But then we are also talking about like some of the classes pitching in a little bit. But I honestly, I know we like tabled this already, but again, like if you want to do 200 tickets, instead in total, we can always do that. Or if you guys want, we can always just scrap it because I get it, like we're tight on our budget. So, I'm really open to hearing anyone's suggestions, and what they want to see and how we can best utilize what the remaining budget we have left.
We're not information. Looks like the budget, right?
Okay.
Huh?
Yeah, looks like how much we have left.
Hold on. It's really low, but I also have no internet. I think it matches that like a little under, but I'm trying to double check.
I'll open up the floor and emotions while guys looking.
Motion for 5 minutes moderated content. 1 minute.
All those in favor of moving into a 5-minute moderated caucus with 1 minute speaking times, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Yep.
Just going down to the good and also, I guess, like in such a wonderful practical system, I mean, it would be offered on for conference or civil war document. So like, we're getting into specific classes or. And I guess I'm just confused about the
Okay. So basically, for like that long blurb, I just want to give some context to like how much the tickets cost for like just anyone that's like buying tickets right now because Fiji is currently selling tickets. So it's like I think like $10 and then they pay at the door $12. But we're working with Fiji to do like an kind of like exclusive buying like a bulk ticket kind of thing for like a way cheaper price and just give it out to for free.
I guess I guess I'm not confused about that part. It's more about like section 4A. You said 100 tickets will be offered on first come.
Oh, okay. So that's what we suggested. Like we were talking about it last week, so I just wrote that down. But like,
okay.
Yeah. I was like, we can always just change that, and that's what I'm trying to do too, is change that. And then just try to get at least like figure out like, are we even gonna buy new tickets? Like, we are very low in our budget that's remaining.
Nice.
I would say in terms of like funding this, I would probably rather see whatever remaining money we have go to like funding Readers and Poets, like to the fullest extent that it can. I also don't want to be biased. My container funding bill, and I think Aaron would really help. Like this started last year, yeah, there's no other legislation, so like we make it conditional on just like spending whatever money we have left on however many things we can after we do the other food. Because I don't think if you have like you just want to get all the money away, and if you don't use all the money, it becomes less next year. So,
The money's almost done. It's gonna get used by this GBM.
well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, let's not fund this and not have enough for container or we did and so much. Let's like fund those first, whatever's left, just like buy either.
Yeah.
That's all,
We'll take a quick pause break for Kaya. Have you gotten on me?
2,678.
We have 2,678. Adding up the total cost of all the bills, if we were to fully fund it, that's 4,613.
Wait, what's the other 1,000?
Inauguration.
Oh.
So someone, was it you? I think someone behind you, Shalala. We'll go to Shalala, then Jackson.
Yeah. Question was that we took taxes for 1,000 that the person like the priceless game.
Wait, can you say that again? Sorry.
Is it price listed factoring the freshman donation?
No, this is like, I haven't actually touched this since like last week, so, but like, hearing what like you guys all said about like some of these other bills that need to pass, like I am more than willing to scrap this and just let them know like, hey, we just can't fund it, but this year.
Jackson?
Thank you.
Okay.
So we want scrap it. Don't know that the price now is still up, right?
Really?
Whatever you do with your own money is like your own money. So if you were to fund it for your take, it's on that.
Wait, did the classes decide yet?
I mean, let's just go to Jackson and then
I was gonna propose just amending this to say a total of the amount of dollars remaining in the SG budget after this meeting will be requested for the respective number of tickets. And I think we can leave it at that, if everybody else is fine with that. I yield the rest on that.
anyone have any other comments? We'll go to Johar. Last.
You just said it's 4,000.
Yeah.
Like, we're not gonna have any extra money to fund everything else. But like, no hate for this, but like, not saying issues if we have to fund inauguration and then like we can vote and stuff. Like, there's just not money. The math ain't mathing. That's all.
Hi, what was the dollar amount again?
Huh?
Well, how much did we have left?
2,678.
Let me do some quick maths.
Because if the classes run for free tickets, the seniors aren't getting free tickets.
Yeah, okay. I guess I'll open the floor to any motions.
Motion to amend this. Or can we like motion to vote and then vote?
Oh.
You can do whatever you want. That's the.
Sorry.
All those in favor of moving the voting procedure, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? All those in favor of passing the Fiji Islander funding bill, please say aye.
Aye.
You with that move? Those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Which we are going to move on to iClickers. So fun. We don't get to use iClickers on.
That's true. Like $4,000.
We should have done
Right now. This is off the so I think it's gonna raise money for something. There's that problem. No, he doesn't. Is it going? For because this doesn't. But now nobody's done. Talk about it.
There's still people who have not finished their voting, so please do.
No.
There are more than 18 people. Did you hit the OK, yes button after you submit?
Can do that.
Okay. Anyone else? Going once, Going twice. Sold. Oh.
What are you can't change your vote? Like one person said no, I mean 35, so that's fine.
Rory still has.
Uh, either way, this funding bill has not passed. Therefore, apologies to Sophie, Jeff, and Nico, that we will move on to our next agenda items, which is going to be the constitutional amendments. Those are constitutional amendments.
This is the Google Doc one, not the Word one.
Are you waiting for me?
Waiting for you.
Oh, okay. Did we make any changes between the first and second reading?
Elena, do you know if I don't think we did in this document. I'll check just to make sure that we're not like sneaking something by you that says like SGA will terminate in like 2028. I'll just like do like a quick check over this to make sure we didn't add it. Yeah. How do I look at versions and check? Oh, I see it now. Thank you. Yeah, it looks mostly the same. I don't think there's anything to stand for. So, I would recommend that people take a motion.
Yeah, if anyone have any motions, we've seen this before, so if anybody has any thoughts or ideas, I'll open the floor to any motions.
Seconds.
All those in favor of moving into voting procedure, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? All those in favor of passing the SGA Constitutional Amendments Act of Spring 2023, please say aye. Those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Okay, up next we have the Senatorial Vacancies Bylaws Amendment.
Yes. So the major changes that were made, other than the ones that we made right before the meeting, which was basically realizing that I misnamed all the programming positions as president and vice president when it should have been chair and treasurer. So that's a small edit. I highlighted other sections that were changed. I added an extensions section, or I added to the extensions section because I realized that there needs to be some like explicit thing that says like, okay, if this happens during a break or during another time when classes aren't meeting, where you would reasonably expect people to be given an extension until the end of that time, like over winter break, there needs to be like a definitive clause for that. While making it fair enough to say like you can't like purposely extend your stuff until you trigger the automatic extension. So if anybody has any edits about that, I would recommend reading over that quickly, as well as finalizing the programming the council vacancies, which are significantly more discussed now. So hopefully it's a little bit better fleshed out. I would recommend either a moderated caucus or a vote if you really feel confident. But if anybody has any final edits or changes they'd like to make the document, speak now or edit it in the fall.
Motion to go to voting procedure.
Second.
All those in favor of moving to voting procedure, please say aye. Those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Okay. All those in favor in voting for the senatorial vacancies bylaws amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Okay, with that, we will move.
Order. Check the Teams for a time-sensitive message.
Yeah.
Everyone, this is storage bins, the bottoms are red. That's all I have to say. When you went in there the other thing, and like I opened the door and I physically like had a box fall onto me, which that prompted me to make this because everything's in different size cardboard boxes and not labeled. Yeah, but this is 16 large clear containers and labels. Did the labels get them?
Yes, the label.
Oh, yeah. And the label, they're from Home Depot. That is all. Unless we have $400 some and anyone has any good organizational items want to add, or if we just want more bins. Because 16 bins is enough.
Yeah.
I will take motion.
Second.
I have no one.
Wait. Does anyone have any motions for any discussions or Q&As? Yes, go ahead.
So we could add uniforms.
Would we like to take for say 3?
We want to go with this.
Motion for a 3-minute recess.
All those in favor of moving to 3-minute recess, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? 3-minute recess is being enacted. Storage bin funding bill.
It's newly approved, that has been implemented, no paper leak. And an extra set of bins because we have the money, and it will go away if we don't use it. Can you change the total again,
Yeah.
whenever that happens? I don't know how much the total is, but it's somewhere in this $600 or $700 range probably. I think that's within the budget, right? Because you said we had 400 in addition to my original 400. That's what you said in your message?
Yes.
Okay, so that should be good.
Yes, but we should have a total before we.
Okay, before we do it, should we have a total for the Blue Jays and Poets as well? Yeah. Oh. Yeah, sorry. Yay.
I know we want to discuss motion for our Monterey caucus Q&A.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
Motion to vote.
Well, yes. I am not accepting motions to vote until we have a total.
What? The total?
Okay. All those in favor of moving to voting procedure, please say aye. Those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Okay. All those in favor of passing the storage bin funding bill, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? We'll have a clean room now. That's so amazing. With that, we can move on to the Blue Jays and Poets Open Mic Night funding bill.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so I sure already gave like a really presentation. We added a couple more things, so we're doing 5 things of t-shirts now. So that runs up to 170. So the total will be 249. 5 cents. And it would be cups, t-shirts, poster stands, stickers, boards.
Any motions?
Second.
Motion to move into a 5-minute Monterey caucus.
There was a.
Is the you go first?
Mine was recognized.
Would you like to pull back your motion to vote?
Sure. Yeah, I understand.
Sorry, it's just actually just point of information.
Go ahead.
Whatever. Point of information. I just want to make sure that we're sticking with prior tradition in that t-shirts are being given away, and I know it's first come first serve for all attendees, but also like if another group was to come through and say, "Ooh, I'm going to make it first come first serve for all attendees," and guess who the first people that are going to get there are? Members of the club. It might be a way to circumvent kind of like existing SGA policy against making sure that, or against members of a club receiving their own permanent clothing items or stuff like that after. This one, of course, is a bit different because they are coming as like undecaled t-shirts. But I wanted to hear everybody else's thoughts first and just making sure that we're being consistent.
With that, would anyone like to go into, or Haya, do you have any thoughts?
I mean, it's just t-shirt. I don't know how to explain. There was a t-shirt grant that the lead office did have at the beginning of the semester for events at the end of the semester. So
Credit union one?
why wasn't that utilized? Was that utilized?
No, we didn't know that we were allowed to do that. Even though we're a registered organization on campus, we are under the guidance of the department, so we didn't know if we were allowed to extend our resources in that type of way.
Also, are talking about the federal credit union?
Yeah.
That one also has 100 something minimum as a t-shirt order, right? So I think this event isn't asking for that.
Wait, point of information, what department did you say you're in this?
Writing seminars.
Okay. Any motions? Any?
Motion to vote.
All those in favor of moving to voting procedure, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? All those in favor of voting to pass the Blue Jays and Poets Open Mic Night Funding Bill, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Okay, I believe last but not least, yes, last but not least, it is the SJ Inauguration Funding Bill.
So we have food, we have linens, and was it cutlery or? And the service cost, and this will be held at Glass Path. Total is $14.98. 55 cents.
I don't want to do moderate podcast because I just have one question.
Quite a bit.
I'm trying information. Are we buying the linens to keep our renting them?
These are rented. They take them back.
More information.
Or just want to do a caucus, moderate caucus, or Q&A.
Motion for a 5-minute Q&A with 1 minute speaking time. Second.
All those in favor of moving to a 5-minute Q&A with 1 minute speaking times, please say aye.
Aye.
Please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions?
Information about the attendees that this is meant to accommodate, and like if there's any additional information on layout or what the plans for the event.
So the attendees that are coming, everyone that was in the email, so your senators, everyone who was won, so incoming senators, outgoing exec board, incoming exec board, there's some administration. The event will go as Chief Justice will serve it. I'm swearing the new executive board. The outgoing president will give a speech. The incoming president, which I'm going to have the president give a speech. Your advisor, so Rebecca will address you all. I will not, because she was your advisor throughout the year. So her or Calvin will have an address with you all. And there will be a time for Brianna to talk about the accomplishments and events that you all did this year. And we'll give you the rest to rest of them. And headshots also. So at 5:30, it starts at 6, but if you want to get there a little bit earlier, because we will be doing headshots from Will Kirk here.
Jeff?
Yeah, 2 questions. One, is this the last bill that we have that requires money?
For this Senate, we have 2 more meetings before the semester ends, and those can also pull from the funding we have.
Okay, but those aren't in second reading right now, correct?
No, those would be with the new administration.
Okay, so then also the second question is, how much money do we have left?
No.
If we do, I have the map.
Okay, basically what I'm getting at is can we just throw everything we have left at this dinner? We can maybe get like one more appetizer or something.
We have $122 left.
Actually, point of information, this count, it's probably of this current Senate and the people that would be the next one, right? What about the people that are getting confirmed today, though?
Confirmed
Are
what?
getting elected today?
Oh,
So from the special elections, because yeah, so should we possibly raise the number of entrees just slightly?
I think
Just pass the bill.
So
Well, I was gonna say with the extra money.
there's $122. That's going to get you a piece of chicken. If you all pass this, I can work with our office and we'll take care of
Lead also has money.
So we can, if you stop by tomorrow after, is the election over today?
Yes.
I think so. They haven't set up the results yet, but
Good luck. That's not going to like that. But we can talk about this.
We can also save the $122 if anyone in the next 2 weeks wants a little.
I believe we were planning for a tabling event, maybe we might be looking at.
We're going to SGA to
Yeah.
my Blue Jay.
It's normal to spend $555 on linens that could get done back in the event. I think that just
So that $555, you know what happens to linens at these events? They get dirty before the food that we drop on them. Who's gonna wash them afterwards?
Yeah. things cards.
No, I'm not. I'll leave my own on.
Okay, I will accept any motions to vote perhaps.
Second.
Second that.
All those in favor of moving to voting procedure, please say aye. Those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? All those in favor for passing the last bill of the Senate and the last funding bill of the Senate, please say aye. Please say aye. You got it. This is the last one. Those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Okay.
Can I have a motion for a 5-minute recess, please?
I think it.
All those in favor of moving to a 5-minute recess, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions?
Justin's,
ending.
I need to have the chosen
In typical SGA fashion, we have a last minute addition to the agenda.
That Kobe totally wrote.
But Ireland will come and present.
Yes.
Yes. Can you add it to the agenda? Oh, so funny. So this is a tradition that we have, and it is going to work. I'm sure of it.
We push out a year 2023.
Bum, 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 bum. What was yours?
Oh, okay. I'm just reading.
Yes.
So, okay. So this is a resolution thanking the senior class of 2023 for their service. So, the Student and Government Association members graduating this year are Student Body President Brianna Soltelli, Senior Class President Sophie Liu, Senior Class Senator Jeffrey Dean, Senior Class Senator Elisa Rodriguez, Senior Class Senator Afif Alala, Aisha Adegunde, Nico Herrera, and Nora Al-Saloom. Senior Class President Sophie Liu has made remarkable contributions to SGA and the university. She has co-chaired the Finance Committee and served as a member of the Academic Affairs Committee and has organized successful senior and junior class events. Through forming the FLI caucus and assisting the APITA caucus, she has shown her dedication to representing marginalized communities. She is graduating as a neuroscience and public health double major and will undoubtedly deliver an incredible graduation address. Senior Class Senator Jeffrey Dean joined the SGA partway through this year and is currently on the Finance and Academic Affairs Committees. He attended the fall retreat as a representative from fraternity and sorority life and has strengthened the connections between SGA and FSL during his tenure, as well as serving as a member of the APITA caucus. He will be graduating with public health and natural science majors. Senior Class Senator Elisa Rodriguez joined SGA this year and has served on Health Safety and Sustainability and CSO and has done an amazing job at representing Hispanic/Latinx students, passing the Corporate America funding bill, as well as tabling with homeward recycling and supporting the student body. She'll be graduating with a neuroscience and mathematics majors. Senior Class Senator Alwa Fawala joined SGA this year as well and served on the Health, Safety, and Sustainability and Finance Committees. She has sponsored multiple event funding bills such as the Wellbeing Fair and Meet the Future, as well as other legislation during her time. She would be graduating with a neuroscience major. Senior Class Senator Aisha Adegunde started on SGA this year and has been a diligent member serving on CSO and the subcommittee, and has continued to represent the student body through her work. Such as presenting the Mellon Event Funding Bill. She will be graduating as a cognitive science major. Senior Class Senator Nico Pereira, an economics major, has dedicated 3 months of his time and skills to SGA. He has served on the Finance Committee, ensuring that funds are allocated effectively and responsibly. Has assisted the Senior Council in organizing both the Senior Formal and Graduation Week activities, contributing to the successful execution of these events, and has sponsored the Fiji Islander Bill, advocating for the interests and needs of his fellow students. Senior Class Senator Nora Al-Saloom joined SGA 3 months ago and served on the Internal Affairs Committee and the Committee on Student Organizations and ensuring that student life runs smoothly. She has assisted in planning the Senior Formal and Senior Graduation Week activities, helped with the climate change survey meeting, and is graduating with a major in public health. Student Body President Solitelli has served on SGA for 4 years,
first as the freshman class president, then as secretary, vice president, and finally as the student body president. She has prioritized a fun, welcoming, and healthy environment in the organization and has led SGA and fought for students through challenging times from the SGA from the COVID-19 pandemic to the transition of SGA structure during her student body presidency. She formed the Hispanic/Latinx caucus to ensure diversity and representation in SGA has been invaluable in connecting students to SGA and the JHU community. We appreciate her dedication to this organization and all the time she has put in over the years on behalf of the student body and Senate. She will be graduating as a neuroscience and history of medicine, science, and humanities major. The senior class has done amazing work this year, and we will miss them. Good luck in all your future endeavors, and we wish you luck.
Any motions?
I motion to
Motion for
take out.
motion for a 5-minute moderated caucus with 1 minute speaking time.
Any seconds?